Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show.
Live from the Xfinity studio. Well, good morning. Happy Wednesday to all across Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by the BetPark Sportsbook online casino app. And, of course, our friends from Xfinity. And the lead-in was just painful. Now, we knew going into the game that the Sixers without Embiid would have very little chance against a really good Spurs team. However, and I know there was no Oubre as well, but that was just an awful, ugly night. Again, it feels like 1 out of every 3 or 4 games is just pure ugliness. And it's a shame because last night was awesome. You had the throwback broadcasting teams. There was Doug Collins, Bob Costas, the czar, the telestrator, Mike Fratello. And NBC does, I love it. I mean, I think it's a shame. But the production is way better than the product. And last night was it. Like, you got a game. It's at home. It's nationally televised. You're thinking, all right, let's go, baby. But at least give me a game. And I tell you one thing, I feel for Maxey. I worry about Tyrese Maxey. How many times can you get punched in the face? Now, he said it. He said morale is suffering a little bit. There's a little bit of a morale, and I guess so. If you go into it and, listen, I know Embiid was more the oblique, but just getting your teeth kicked in, I mean, they got outscored 35-11 in the third quarter. 35-11. I don't care who's playing. You can't get outscored 35-11. It's horrible. I mean, it was, you lose by 40. It's an embarrassment all the way. From the second quarter on, it's just you're getting boat raced. I mean, it's as bad as any other process game. And I understand it about Embiid and Oubre. Not that Oubre would have made any kind of difference. But, man, they're just unwatchable if Embiid's not in the game. And it was interesting because it wasn't like that to start the year. There was a little bit more ball movement. There was energy. And you could see that this energy is just, they're just sapped. Like, sapped. Man, it was just an ugly night. And the problem is that you look around and you go, well, what's going to change? Like, I know that, George comes back and then Embiid comes back and we're going to look at the playoffs and go, well, you got a shot here and all. But do they really? Is this just what? I feel beaten down by it. Like, I just feel Maxey's pain because all he does is go out and compete. He tries, he guts it out, and then you look at what's on the floor, and then I don't even know what Nick Nurse. I get it, like you're undermanned, but wow, he's just got no answers whatsoever. So we'll get into it. It's just one of those deals where you feel completely beat up, and like the ugly loss. Like, listen, you lose by 15. It is what it is, right? Like, it's a game. They pull away at the end of the third quarter, the fourth quarter. I mean, you've seen a million NBA games that way. But, like, just to be embarrassed that way, it's just awful. Like, I'm sitting there, and it's on, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if it's self-flagellation that I kept it on and watched. Like, I'm just, oh, there it is, another one. Like, I don't know why I had kept it on. I was trying to enjoy the telecast without the basketball. It's just terrible, absolutely terrible. There's some games you watch and you go, why am I doing this? Why? I could be doing a million other things that would be productive, and that's not productive. Anyway, fun show. Here's the deal. Coming up, we have a lot of deadlines coming up. Friday is the NHL trade deadline. Monday is the NFL legal tampering period. We have, and you see, thanks, Jules, on the radar, this is what's happening. Free agency. We got the World Baseball Classic as well on Friday. And, of course, the NHL trade deadline is Friday. Frank Seravalli, who is the Adam Schefter of the NHL, works for TSN Canada, formerly of the Daily News, will be with us coming up about less than 15 minutes to discuss the Flyers and kind of what he sees and what may or may not materialize when it comes to the deadline. So we'll get some nuggets from Frank. A little bit later, we got our buddy Mike Sielski, who we love. The Brain will stop by. And, of course, I'm very excited. BG, we love our BG, and BG will be with us to kind of chop it up about free agency, about the draft. We'll go into a player's mind, like Jalen Phillips and A.J. Brown. Let's go into a player's mind with BG. So that's coming up at 10:30. Looking forward to that. Good morning, VG.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Violations, Greg.
You got a bad vibe to you this morning. You got Sixers funk on you, I feel like. What are you doing to yourself?
I know.
You need to hang those little Post-it notes around the house. I love myself. I'm worthy of better. I don't deserve this. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great to tune into for a little bit. I can't believe they just ruined the great throwback broadcast.
I know, they ruined it.
So it's unwatchable. There was one point where Costas was like, 6 minutes, or this game can't end soon enough for Sixers fans.
And it's a shame because, like, I love the NBL, NBC. Like, they do a nice job.
The graphics were great in the corner.
Doug Collins.
Yes.
Right? Like, it was like, all right, like, we got.
Just make it competitive.
Bizarre.
Right.
I mean, just to get embarrassed on national TV.
Oh, NBC had to be going crazy. They hyped this up, this big broadcast, this crew comes back, and this is what they come back for. They got to be like, what the hell?
Well, that's the thing that kills you, right? That's the thing that buries you.
They have to have some kind of like a flex game or something when they know Embiid's out with the oblique. They got to flex that to another team, another game.
I mean, the problem is you got the announcing crew.
I know.
You make all your all your plans.
Yeah, all the commercials.
It's hard to pivot.
Yeah, they're thinking they got Embiid versus Wemby.
I know. And
Grimes puts up 2 points.
You know what sucks is that Wemby just doesn't even play.
Doesn't play.
You asked me yesterday, he's like, any worry? I'm like, well, no. I mean, he should be able to get his points in the first half. It's a blowout. But really, the second quarter, it was just a boat race piece, and he didn't even have to play.
20 minutes? Did he play 20 minutes?
24 minutes.
Yeah. Just a disaster.
24 minutes.
Disaster all around, from Sixer fans to the broadcast.
I ask you, and again, I understand what and no Embiid means, right? And George, and yesterday Oubre, right? I get it, all that. However, the direction, the coach, the president of the franchise, it all comes out like, and I worry about Tyrese.
Well, the coach, we've realized now the coach does stink. When you see what McCain's doing on the best team in basketball, and he couldn't get on the floor here.
Yes.
There's nobody with more 20-point games off the bench since he's been traded than McCain. He's firing it up over there.
I mean, and that's what you just you question Morey and Nurse.
So now you know Nurse stinks because the scheme that they're running in Oklahoma can find minutes for McCain, and then you got to worry about Morey. Like, he miscalculated. He gutted them. Like, I mean, at least even if they lost, the kid was fun.
When they were talking about under the tax, right?
Yeah.
There were other places to go under the tax.
Yeah, Drummond.
Right?
Yeah.
You didn't have to trade McCain.
Mm-mm.
So, you know what's funny? My buddy Andy, like, we've been going years. We've been friends since we were little kids. And he's a huge Sixer. Like, Sixers probably number one.
Wow.
Right? Like Sixers 1, Eagles close second, Phillies, right? Last night was unwatchable. I'm a lifelong fan that probably hasn't watched every minute in a game in like 2 years.
Wow. Oh, man.
And like, that's a guy that, you want, like, I've watched a million games with him. Like, you go watch a game.
Yeah.
And we watch a game. And like,
That's
my
probably
cousin,
if you're losing him, because you lose me, like, I'm checked out till the playoffs.
Right.
Until
but
Paul
like,
George gets back.
I could tell you, like, it would be a Thursday night or a Wednesday night, I don't know, Sixers Celtics during the regular season.
Yeah.
My cousin would say, hey, you want to come over, watch the game? I'll make something, pizzas or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
One of the guys, boo, yeah, let's go watch a game. Right? You can't even do that.
Not with this. I don't even understand how the team's made up now. Depth-wise, he stinks. Morey is a disaster. And I think you're right with Maxey. I mean, he's got nothing. VJ goes out with the back.
And he talked
and
about
then they
morale.
just got it.
Yeah, he talked about morale.
Yeah. That's the thing. The kid, McCain, even if you couldn't find him the minutes, he's young enough and, he's goofing around. He makes them feel good. He's a good locker room. He's like Stubbsy, like a vibes guy.
And he can shoot.
Well, apparently, yes, he can shoot.
He can shoot.
All we just needed was some time and a little strategy and planning to find him some open looks.
That's the thing. Like, they all get exposed coming here.
Yeah, and it's not like he was not in shape. It's a week later than he's
Right.
put up 20 points a week later. It's not like suddenly he got in massive shape in a week.
And I don't know how you get people excited for the playoffs.
Well, they're going to have to be dominant when they come back. When PG gets back and Embiid's back, he's got to be healthy. They got to look like a playoff team. That's the only way.
Yeah, I mean, and even that, you go, all right, like.
Oh, I'm going to be in. If they look good and they roll off like 6 of 8, yeah.
The problem is you can't have these nights when you get embarrassed. And there's a lot of them.
No.
Like, listen, you have 2 a year where it's not a game. All right. But like, they've had, let's see, Portland. Actually, I'll look it up.
Someone, it might have been Collins who, dig at the process. Basically said the process is still going. He's like, what are we in, year 14 of the process here?
Is that what he said? Yeah,
there's a comment
I remember
like that.
saying that. So here's what you've had, right? Let's go back to after the Trailblazers game, all right? That was the last game of the trip. It was on February 9th.
All right, so we're not even a month out, 4 weeks out.
Okay? They lose. They get embarrassed, right? Lose by 17. It was worse, right? All right. Last game of the trip.
Yeah.
Then you had the first game home and the last game before the All-Star break.
Oh, that was a good one.
That was against the Knicks when Knicks fans took over and they lost by 49. All right? So they lost by 49 points. That's 2 embarrassing blowouts.
Yeah.
Then they come back against the Hawks at home and lose by 10. Then they go to New Orleans.
This is a real
Pelicans.
This is a real kicker, this one.
And they lose by 15. Yeah. All right?
Yeah.
They beat Minnesota. They beat Indiana. They beat Miami. And, all right, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's the Celtics. Boat raced. That was Sunday, national TV.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, yeah, man, Sixers seas. And then you see them get wasted. And then last night, Spurs, wasted.
Now, if you want to go back just a week earlier to that, to Monday, January 26th, they lose by 37 to Charlotte. Like, come on, man.
How many times have they lost by
30?
10 or more?
By 10 or more. By 10 or more. Oh, man.
I mean, I don't even know what to say. It freaking kills you.
Yeah. And I ended up watching I didn't even watch the end of the game. I had to put on the Traitors reality reunion show.
Did you?
Not even an actual show, just a reunion. Because I was like, "There's no way I can't do this to myself. I've been through way too much therapy and stuff. I can't do this to myself."
Why you look at it like self-preservation?
Oh yeah, lifestyle. Like you only got time in this world. I can't waste time on that.
I know. I feel. You know what? I feel like that. There are times And someday, Jules, it'll hit you, right? You go, wait a second, why am I wasting all this time doing this? And how come I've wasted that portion of my life?
Yeah. And you got to plan. I'm planning. So, like, Pagan does not expect me in the middle of a game to be like, hey, you want to put the Traders reunion on? She's like, yeah? Yeah, because I know March Madness is coming. I'm going to be dominating the TV if I'm even home. So I got to play this up right. You know, I'm not wasting a night on that game last night.
No.
You can't do it.
No, you can't. And it's a shame. You know, listen, you have the issues with the league, and there's only a handful of teams that are worth watching. But, like, if I'm NBC, I'm going, yo, I want my money back.
Yeah.
All right?
Yo,
I need a
do-over. Yeah.
You guys got to compensate me for airing that garbage.
Yeah, I don't even know if those guys like each other. For the Telestrator guy, they might hate each other. Like, I sat with Doug for that. Can't stand that guy. I had to sit through that game.
So I have the Daily Five today, right?
Okay, yeah.
And we'll do it with the brain coming up too. But I'll give you the one question.
Yeah.
And the one question that I have is this. Put these Sixers coaches in order. These are the last Sixers coaches.
Oh, my God.
All right? Nick Nurse.
There's got to be a tie for last.
Doc Rivers. Brett Brown. Doug Collins.
All right, Doug.
Eddie Jordan. Maurice Cheeks.
Wow, Eddie Jordan's been that recent? Wow, I thought he was
these are the last coaches
All right.
in Sixers history.
So, I mean, let's start at the top because it gets a little murky at the bottom.
You're right.
Well, I like Mo. I go Mo 1.
All right, so you go Cheeks, and that's nothing to do with, listen, I love Mo. He kind of wasn't a head guy, but.
I mean, I go Mo, then Doug.
All right, Collins. But remember, Doug Collins was pray for Andrew Bynum.
Oh, someone asked if in the chat if he was praying for Sixers fans last
right?
night.
Like, the guy prayed for it. Let's pray. Let's all pray for Andrew Bynum.
Yes.
As he got like $100 million, did not play. There was I have a friend of mine who was a caller to the state, great guy. Andrew Bynum was hurt, right?
Yeah.
And he was out.
Yeah.
And you remember Andrew Bynum, while he was hurt, was samba dancing?
Yeah, yes.
And so, lo and behold, Jerry pulls up next to Andrew Bynum in the car. And he goes, samba dancing? And Andrew Bynum gave me the finger.
Yeah, he flipped them off. Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do in that situation?
Right, that's the Sixers.
Yeah.
All right, so you got Mo, Doug Collins.
Brett.
I think I go Doc, no?
No. I go Brett.
You go Brett?
Then Doc.
After that incredible record that poor Brett.
I think Brett was in a bad situation. I think he's a good coach. But no one's ever hired him again.
I always liked Brett, but.
No one's ever hired him, so maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Then I go Doc. And then this is problematic. You got to go Nurse Jordan. And Jordan's just a joke.
I'll never forget, Eddie Jordan came into the studio.
Yeah.
Right? So we were talking. We got in an argument, the two of us. All right.
Yeah.
And it was about the point guard and purgatory. In fact, we got Frankie here, so I'll tell you the story of Eddie Jordan when the brain comes in, because I'll
make
ask
a
the
note
brain
of it to remind you
to do that. But it's a great story about how everybody's a point guard, and he didn't know what the definition of purgatory meant. Okay.
Yeah.
So lots to get into. We're going to go deep into the NHL trade deadline. Flyers. What's going on, right? Now they've won 3 in a row.
I'm back in. Let's get to the playoffs.
All right.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing? We have Frank Seravalli. If you don't know, Daily News, TSN Canada now, local guy. He's incredible. He's the Adam Schefter of the NHL. All right. Knows everything. So we're going to get to Frankie coming up in just a minute. But first, let's talk about our friends. Let's talk about the BetPark Sportsbook online casino app. So you're going to have the Spurs all day long, right? Live bet the Spurs. in the third quarter. If you're betting against the Sixers in the third quarter, God bless you. You let me know, all right? Like, I could use some good ducats. I mean, it's that good, all right? Check out. You can play anything, right? Third quarter, live in-game stuff. You name it. Get the tournament on the horizon, hockey, you name it. You can play it on the app. Baseball's around the corner as well. Plus, new users get up to $1,000 casino bonus if you're down the first 24 hours and 250 free spins on a couple designated games. 10 days, 25 spins each day, get you to 250. Pretty incredible, right? All the slots and all the blackjack, roulette, you name it. BetParks.com has all the details. Got to be 21, PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland. Gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
For an SUV, Elkin Chevrolet's got you. Elkin Chevrolet, they're run by three brothers. Real brothers, local guys. They're at the dealership every day making sure everything's going smooth. And right now, they're putting on a President's Day sales event, and the deals are bigger and better than ever. You need a truck? They've got it. Looking for an SUV? They got that too. They got your Silverados. They got the nice Blazers. They got the big, comfortable Suburbans and Tahoes. Every vehicle comes with the kind of service that makes you feel like you're part of the family, because they are a family. But don't wait. These President's Day deals are only there for a short time. Swing by Elkin Chevrolet, Route 73 South in Marlton, New Jersey. Super easy to get to right over the bridge and get in on the deals that are just plain honking good. Elkin Chevrolet, they're real brothers, they're real deals, and they got a whole lot of honking good service. Together, let's drive.
All right, now let's welcome to the program on the Xfinity mobile call-in line, the preeminent hockey reporter, NHL reporter, Philadelphia's own Frank Seravalli. Frankie, good morning. Oh, you're muted, Frankie. Oh, no. Jules, what do we got? I got to hear Frankie. Frankie looks good, man. I haven't seen him in a few years. Looking handsome.
He's a silver
Can you hear me
fox.
Gotcha.
All right, cool. Yeah, the Cuz, good to see you, man. What's going on?
Always great to see you, buddy, man. Really killing it. You're the preeminent hockey voice, NHL voice. We love it. Let's get right to Friday's deadline and our fly guys, right? Like, we're all desperate for this rebuild to kind of take form. What kind of deadline do you think is going to be first? Is it going to be quiet? Do you think a lot of movement? What are you seeing?
From a Flyers perspective, I think you can expect it to be relatively quiet. I believe they've had some traction on defenseman Rasmus Ristolainen here in the last couple of days. They've set a high asking price, and if you see some of the moves that have already been made around the NHL, understandably so, the Flyers are looking for a first-round pick plus something else in return for Rasmus Ristolainen, and makes sense. Look, this is a big hulking defenseman who has struggled to stay healthy this year, has played pretty good of late. I saw him at the Olympics and was actually really impressed with the job that he did for Team Finland there. And the Flyers are looking to potentially cash in on that moment. Now, whether or not that comes to fruition, outside of that, I'd say you'd be hard-pressed to see much other significant action when it comes to the Flyers. But kind of to be expected, this team is taking a methodical, patient approach. There aren't going to be any shortcuts here to where they're getting with this rebuild. And this is one of those years that they've tried to be competitive and in the mix. They've won 3 straight, as you mentioned off the top, and they are just trying to work through their plan piece by piece.
Is there any way they could be a buyer? Like, is there a player that could possibly shake free that they would look at and go, like, that guy can be part of our future?
Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if the Flyers weren't one of the teams that had at least called to check in on someone like Robert Thomas in St. Louis. The Flyers, as we know, as they've gone through this build, they've got exciting wingers, Matvei Michkov, they've got Porter Martone waiting in the wings, but they don't have that marquee center. And It's also a pretty big reason why my expectation is that Robert Thomas will remain in St. Louis when this is all said and done. But the point is that 26-year-old centers who are just really cresting into the prime of their career, he's a 2-time 80-point scorer. plays a premier position, they don't come available all that often. So when they do, it's not really about this year and trying to, you mentioned Briere, it's not trying to sneak into the playoffs this year. That wouldn't be the motivation to make a trade. If that were to happen, that would be the quality byproduct that comes from it. But this team's trying to set itself up. And so when those type of players come available, and I don't mean Thomas in particular, I just mean that position, that stature, the Flyers are going to be calling to check in and see how they can find a way to get in the mix.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was really referring to. It was more like, hey, we can add somebody that could be part of the future. And hey, listen, if you make you make a run, you make the playoffs, great. At least it's something to build on with some of the younger players just to feel it. But that's not real, obviously, the goal. Is there any the Flyer fans have concern just about the lack of talent and some of the young players and their development? What have you heard about the development, like Jet Luchenko? They had to move him to wing. What are you hearing about what's down there in their system?
Well, I think some of it's coming in fits and starts. Like everyone wants, the top quality player to be drafted and join your lineup for immediate gratification. And that really rarely happens. And a reminder that particularly in hockey, more so than other sports, different than football, different than basketball, where you see that tangible return right away. You draft a player for the Eagles in April, they're in your lineup, on opening night. That doesn't happen in hockey. You're talking about 3, 4, 5 years for most players. And so development isn't linear. I think there have been some big hits. I think there have probably, it's fair to say at some point will be misses. And when you look at their system, Porter Martone and the work that he's done in college has been hugely impressive. Like he's a can't miss guy. I think when you take a look at Jet Luchenko, the path is going to be longer. And I think the big question about him is it's not will he be an NHL player? That part I think will take care of itself. It's what kind of ceiling does he have? Yeah. And that's the part that I think he still needs to answer that question. And so I think when you look on the whole, they've done a nice job of putting themselves in spots to select quality players. That process still unfolding, but moving forward, they still need to check positional boxes, and they aren't hiding from that notion. We talked about the center. They still need a number one defenseman, and they still need a franchise goalie. Now, Dan Vladar has done a really admirable job, been one of the best. If you honestly go back through the entire league last summer, one of the better free agent signings that was made. And the Flyers have made other really strong moves, including Trevor Zegras, who's had a monster year and a big bounce back. But they need to get those positional boxes checked in order to really get this rebuild moving in the right direction.
You heard anything about Zavragin? Because there were a lot of people thought that maybe now he's so young, playing the KHL. Is he a guy that could possibly be their franchise goalie down the line?
Potentially. I mean, look, goalies, I say this all the time. Goalies are voodoo. Like you really never know what you're getting year in and year out, let alone week in and week out in the NHL. And I truly believe that the shift, and this is my own personal philosophy, I've yet to really see many NHL teams buy in, is there's 64 spots in the NHL. There's probably in reality 200 capable NHL goalies. So the thought process shouldn't be, let's go and find the top guy. I mean, it'd be nice to have an Andrei Vasilevsky or Connor Hellebuck or pick a guy. Yeah. The marquee, hey, it's great to, put your head on the pillow at night and not have to think about the position. But the inverse of that is because the position is so fickle and so much of it largely depends on the play in front of you, that you should be trying to accumulate as many of these guys as possible. Have 5 in your system that give you a crack. And if that guy doesn't work, you're on to the next one. You're constantly moving these guys in and out to the point where you find something that works, you stick with it, and you run with it for a while. And if not, you're trying to continue to work to find a solution. So teams historically haven't drafted goalies very high. I think you should be drafting more goalies, and I think you should be trying to acquire and sign as many undrafted guys as possible to give yourself an opportunity to find someone. I mean, look at where Sergei Bobrovsky came from. I remember going to development camp just after the Flyers played in the Cup final in 2010, and they're saying, hey, this guy could be the next goalie. And you're like, huh, who? Where'd this guy come from? But it's, when you find those guys, they're pretty rare. You want to try and A, make sure you hang on to them, but B, you got to keep searching to find the next one.
Hey, Frank, when I'm looking around trying to read rumors and whatnot, I see often, I'm saying 3 or 4 times, I've come across the Bruins kicking the tires on Owen Tippett. Do you think that's anything that has a chance to come to fruition?
I mean, it seems, first off, I would caution you, be careful. I know the internet, it can lead you astray these days. So not everything you see is accurate. I think the Bruins have had a lot of different lines in the water. I think the term that's remaining on Owen Tippett's deal is probably not a help, but a hindrance. And I don't mean that in the sense that he's overpaid or anything like that. It's just that there are so many other players on the winger front, particularly, that you can get that don't have the same type of commitment to them. And not only that, but the Flyers seem, speaking of commitment, to be pretty committed to him, that they see him as part of, a group that can help this team moving forward. He fits their age scheme and trending in the direction that they want to be going in. And I personally don't see it. And that's why I was mentioning off the top, I think this is going to be a relatively quiet deadline for the Flyers if, outside of Rasmus Ristolainen, for example.
Just looking ahead to the off season, because this was supposed to be like a banner free agent class, and obviously teams have re-signed their stars. Who do you project that could be out there this summer?
Don't look. I mean, honestly, the answer is this could be one of the worst free agent classes that we've seen. You're talking about a quality winger potentially in Alex Tuck if the Sabres even let him get to market.
Yeah.
And that's why when we saw these stories last summer or 18 months ago about, hey, look, this could be one of the best free agent classes ever, headlined by Connor McDavid. I mean, no one was actually thinking that Connor McDavid would truly even make it to market. And if he did, outside of a small group of, original 6 or mega market franchises, where is he going? So I think people get a little too excited. In the NHL, the biggest story has been if you have quality talent, there's zero chance you're letting it walk out the door because it's really hard to find difference makers. And so I think that part has really kind of changed the narrative in a big way, that what people were once looking forward to, now it looks like an exercise in overspending.
Yeah, that's the issue. And if you're the Flyers, you finally, after all these years, have been able to kind of have some cap space and some freedom. You can't waste it, right? Like, even though this year is a lean year, you almost got to put it back in your pocket.
100%. And I believe they will. That's why I mentioned off the top, they're sticking with the plan. Like, it's not going to be to go out and overpay vets. They're fine with their cap situation. They don't need to spend to get to a league minimum. They're well past that. And they're going to be really particular in how they go about this, bringing in new guys, because part of this rebuild process, and I see teams make this mistake all the time, they spend years accumulating talent in the draft, and then they go in and bring a veteran in that doesn't fit their group necessarily, or even if he does, he presents a roadblock for all the talent that you just spent these years accumulating. And then there's no opportunity, there's no space to grow. So the Flyers want to be really careful, and I know that this is part of their plan as well, to make sure that as these guys are maturing, that there's an opportunity for them to step into the lineup and to make an impact and to earn that job.
Yeah, and you could speak to this because and listen, Flyer fans, it's been cumulative, right? Like, you covered this team, so you were there the last time they mattered. We talk about 2010 when they get in on a shootout on the last day. It's been lean since then, really, really lean. And I think the impatience, people will blur the regimes, right? So Jonesy, Danny, and Dan Helfrey, this is 2.5 years for them. But the job was so big that you can't rush it. Like, you can't skip steps in this thing. And it's hard because people go, what? They've been irrelevant for 15 years. So there's a high level of frustration.
And I totally get it. And I understand it. And I empathize with it because I live here. And it drives me crazy that this market, which was once one of the true proud hockey markets in the world, that this sport in this town at least has been the fourth of four and has been largely irrelevant at times. They're not a newsmaker. They're not a big franchise on the worldwide scale like they used to be. And so that does hurt. And I get all of that. But this current regime can't wear the sins of the previous one or the one before that, which, to your point, this has happened there's been premature evacuations, I would say, of the plan, which has been either get to free agency and you get excited, or you go on an unexpected playoff run, and COVID was probably the toughest one for the Flyers because it made them feel like they might have been closer than they were in reality, and which was just a really weird year. And you put aside all the careful planning that you've done. And so the Flyers this time around, that comes from many different forms, right? It comes from potentially above the management group in ownership or Comcast Spectacor. It comes from the fan base and the marketplace at times, that because there's such a need or want to break out of this malaise and get back into the playoffs and have those glorious, April Saturday afternoons at Wells Fargo or Xfinity Mobile, and how exciting those are. To get back to that, it's going to require a couple more years of patience. And I know that's not what anyone wants to hear, but that's the truth. And they can't abandon that now because what's hanging in front of you, this idea and notion of, well, let's just get into the playoffs and see what happens. Look, if that happened as a 7th or 8th seed, fine. In an unexpected year, that's a nice reward. But my goal, and what every Flyers fan's goal should be, is to be a sustainable winner, to have a chance for 10 straight years to open a window where you're not just a playoff team, you're an authentic threat to win a Stanley Cup. Anything other than that, I think you're just kidding yourself. You're just saying, okay, we're happy to be a playoff team. That's not what the Flyers were ever built on. So if you want to go be that team that's just happy to get in and get a few extra home gates, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it does. And listen, that can't be the goal here. Because the only way to get the Flyers back to the forefront is to get out of purgatory. And look, I get people that go that they didn't tank hard enough. That, like the other side of that criticism is, hey, we're in kind of this no man's land where you're probably going to fall short from the playoffs, and you may not even be there on the 11th spot to be in the running for the lottery.
And I get that too. And I would actually probably side toward that notion, which has been, they've been too competitive. Bottom out and trade away some of the top end talent that you've had. You don't have to actively tank, but your team can only accomplish based on the roster that you put on the ice. And so if you remove some of those pieces, that you put yourself in a position where there's not much they can do. They've done more than that. And I get it. They've spent at times, they've hung on to players, they've extended players with new contracts. They see some of those pieces as players that can be part of the other end of this. Now, how all that lines up age scheme wise and timeline wise remains to be seen, but they've certainly got work to do. And I get the criticism on that other end of it too.
We're talking to Frank Seravalli, who is TSN Canada's top hockey reporter. It's Wawa's big deal. The big deal, the NHL trade deadline coming on Friday. And it's, hey, what is going on with the Flyers and what can we expect to happen on Friday? Frank, as you know, you probably read him in Daily News. He is the preeminent voice in the NHL. I'll ask you about Michkov and how do you think now, it's been a little bit of a rocky year, as you know, with Tak and Michkov and coming into shape, the whole thing. He's been a little bit more active since the break. How do you kind of assess in that situation?
Yeah, I think a really promising few days outside of the Olympic break to get back and hit the ground running. I mean, shot out of a cannon with that game at MSG to open the post-Olympic schedule. Look, let's go back to the part of the conversation we were having earlier about development is not a straight line. It's not linear. And you just expect, hey, this guy's going to continue to be on the ascent. And a lot of things have happened over the course of this build as you see Cutter Gauthier in Anaheim hit 30 goals, and there's different pain points. Matvei Michkov has the ability to be a special game-breaking player. He has not consistently done it in the NHL for a lot of different reasons. You mentioned the physical fitness and that component to start this year, putting him behind the 8 ball. When you have a player who's a winger that can be a play-driving winger, doesn't have that, and by the way, wasn't fast to begin with, doesn't have that physical fitness component, that stands out in a big way, and it becomes obvious to everyone watching. So the other side of that is that he's still a kid, and there's a lot of immaturity there, and he's working through to learn how to be a pro. Everything at this point in his life has come easy to him. Hockey's always been, I don't have to do that much work. I've always been the best player. That's not how it works when you get to the NHL, because some of the best players are also the hardest working players. I mean, go back and watch. There's a 27-second clip of Macklin Celebrini last night in a game for the San Jose Sharks, a shift in which he didn't even score. It's art, how hard this kid works. And so
yeah,
you
he's ridiculous.
You marry those things up and you go, okay, maybe the most talented player, the correlation here is also one of the most hardworking. So that needs to be ingrained into what he's doing moving forward. And I think there's been a realization this year that that's really sorely needed. And not to say that this year is a total wash, but let's evaluate from this point forward now that he's seemingly got the message, and it's incumbent not just on Michkov to heed the message, but it's also incumbent on the Flyers to stay on him like white on rice over the summer. I don't care if you need to send a guy with him to make sure that he's doing everything necessary to hit the ground running when the season starts again with training camp in September, or if he's staying here, whatever his plans are, make sure that you stay on this kid, because it's a two-part problem. It's what he does, and it's also how you're managing and coaching him.
I'm with you.
Hey, while we got here, I just wanted to get back to the trade deadline. With the Panthers being 10 points out of the playoffs, they say they're listening to offers on or their free agents. Is there a chance or a world where you see Bobrovsky getting traded? And would it be someone like Edmonton?
I mean, look, I think what you'd have to look at is a few different things. One, I don't think Sergei Bobrovsky really has any interest in leaving. Two, there's an ongoing contract negotiation, and when you hear his name out there, I view that more as the team posturing. Hey, you don't want to come to terms on a new deal, we could move you here. And three is the realities of the salary cap world that we're living in. There isn't anyone that can afford a $10 million goalie right now. If the Panthers retained half and knocked it down to 5, maybe we're having a different conversation, but unless Florida, for instance, since you brought up Edmonton, is taking pieces back from Edmonton in order to help facilitate, that's not likely happening. I believe Edmonton made their bed with their goalie situation. They traded for Tristan Jarry earlier this year, and that hasn't worked out. He's been just another version of Stuart Skinner. And as intriguing as the idea is or possibility is of Sergei Bobrovsky, one of the best goalies of his generation, moving, I would place the likelihood of it being very low.
Yeah. You mentioned Robert Thomas. We saw the Breadman move. Anybody else of note you think moves Friday?
Look, I think this deadline more than others has been way more centered upon depth players and not actual difference makers. There are a few intriguing ones out there. Nashville just unloaded a couple bottom of the lineup players last night. Many are wondering how much that might be a harbinger for what other selling they might do. Does it include a Ryan O'Reilly or Steven Stamkos or one of those type players? But outside of those guys and outside of a couple of those St. Louis Blues who they're considering some seismic changes to their organization, I'd say the bulk of what this deadline has been about is way more along the lines of a typical NHL deadline with pending unrestricted free agents moving as rentals to contending teams.
Frank, man, really enjoyed it. You're just a wealth of knowledge and insight. Really appreciate it, brother. A lot of fun.
Yeah, great to see you again, and all the best with your show.
Thanks, pal. There he is, Frank Seravalli. I mean,
sounds like
kind of like what we expected, right?
Sounds like it might be a quiet trade deadline everywhere.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
It's buckle in. I mean, that's what it is.
Enjoy the ride.
Yes. Coming up, the brain will join us. I want to give you the Daily 5.
Cool.
All right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you and Brain because he's a good sports guy too, right? So between the two of you, it's good.
All right. We'll see.
All right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
With just me, it's
Ben's
not
around.
good, but between the two of us, we'll make it good.
Right. And I
Okay.
might even have to get Ben involved too.
We don't need no more Yankee comments. Come on. Come on.
First, a word from our friends. Hey, you ever have one of those days you're running so much you realize you forgot to eat? Well, that's why I've been loving what Wawa's doing these days. Wawa now has $5 deals all day long. Honestly, it makes life so much easier. You're starting early. You grab the $5 big breakfast meal deal. We're talking breakfast sandwich, hash brown, any size hot or iced coffee. That's a full morning win for $5, 5 to 11. Then later in the day, the value keeps rolling. Crispy chicken sandwich created your way, $5. And they even got new teriyaki recipes. Love the teriyaki for a limited time. It's real food, real value, built for busy days. No planning, no overthinking. Swing in, grab what you need, and keep it moving. Start your day strong. Fuel up whenever you need Wawa's $5 deals. Limited time, exclusive supply. See Wawa.com for details. Gotta have Wawa. Look, you want Jalen Carter out catching passes? No. All right? Come on now. Not worth the risk, the time, the money. Keep your stars focused on doing what they do best. Same goes for your business. You don't want your top people buried in operations, tedious, time-consuming, redundant activities that wear them down. Togo can help any business look to reduce operating costs, from customer service and accounting to order management, logistics, admin, data entry, even complex multi-step operational processes. We take it off your plate. Every Togo program includes dedicated staff, custom automations, US-based process engineers who act as your quarterback, giving you complete control, total transparency, and instant efficiency. At Togo, they turn your playbook into performance. You call the plays, we execute. HarnessTogo.com. Scale smarter, work faster, stay focused on winning. All right, welcome back. Chat, you rule, chat. You have great instincts, chat. All right, great insight. All right, we got the brain. Let's on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line, brought to us by the BetPark Sportsbook online casino app. The brain.
Brain. Red the brain. Feinberg.
Morning, brain.
Oh,
Good,
getting driven around.
good morning, my
car
friend.
service brain.
Where you
Yeah,
headed?
well, yeah,
Airport?
going house hunting, my friend.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah.
Upgrading. Good year? Upgrading?
Well, good year. That was fun. It's funny. I actually have a condo that I love, but the missus doesn't want to live in a condo, so I'm not going to say it's an upgrade. I'm going to say it's doing what makes her happy. What they're saying, happy wife, happy life. So, yeah. So there
We
you go.
going West Palm Beach? Where are we going?
Where we're looking right now is, I think it's considered Palm Beach Gardens technically, but
Okay.
but yeah, West Palm Beach probably a little bit too expensive for me, and I don't love it as much as the other areas. So, probably not West Palm Beach, probably Palm Beach Gardens, which
Okay.
I prefer.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're on our
He's a
way. Got
garden
like
man.
Well, good luck,
three on
good
the
luck, Brain.
3 on the docket today. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
that's good. Hey, Brain, before we start with some
Yep.
picks,
Yes, sir.
I do this thing, the Daily 5, and I
Okay.
ask 5 random questions.
Okay.
And you being a great sports guy, I want your answers, okay?
Yep.
All right. There's 4 sports questions and always 1 life question is how I do it. All right.
Yeah.
The last handful of Sixers coaches, I want you to put them in order from best to worst. Doug Collins, Maurice Cheeks,
Oh my God.
Eddie Jordan, Doc Rivers, Nick Nurse, and Brett Brown.
All right, leave it up on the screen if you don't mind. Okay, I'm gonna go Doug Collins 1.
Pray for us.
I'm actually, I mean, I guess I'll go Nick Nurse 2, Brett Brown 3, Doc Rivers 4, Mo Cheeks 5, Eddie Jordan 6.
So I got Nurse way down.
I let me tell you something.
I think
I have to admit, I have to
I
admit,
gotta tell you, I
Yeah,
think he
you're probably
stinks.
right.
I think he's
No.
the Fugazi of the first.
I got to tell you something, and I always say show your work. I was saying him almost because I felt like pressured into saying him because I'm like the guy is like, coach of the year or whatever is like has this pedigree. But I have to admit, I have not been
He
impressed,
stinks.
and here I am just putting him in there, and I kind of felt like a Jack, you know what, putting
I
him
think
that high.
Doc's a better coach than Nick Nurse.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Doc either, but yeah,
neither
I mean,
was
look,
I. But that's
he's
when I-
probably extremely overrated. He got good press years ago, and it's kind of carried over. I listen. I blame myself for I'm firing myself for my rating. Bad job by me.
All right, this is a fun one. All right.
Yeah.
All right, now
Yeah.
VG, I need you back in. All right, because you already answered the Sixer question. This is create the superhero quarterback. You could have any quarterback whose arm, whose legs, whose brain. All right, VG, you go first.
I'm going Randall's legs, Elway's arm, and I love this guy, and I think he would have been great if his whole career was in the NFL. Warren Moon's brain. Big Warren Moon fan. Low interceptions, could read defenses.
He's a hell of a quarterback.
Yeah.
You go all old school.
Yeah, man.
You go old school. I wouldn't go any of the old school
Get out
guys.
of here, man.
I hate your pick.
Dude, my quarterback's undefeated.
I think he stinks. Brain, go ahead, buddy. Beat him.
All right. Well, arm. God, where'd I go? Arm. I actually don't think Elway was a bad pick. You know what's funny? For me, factoring in everything, I'll say Dan Marino because he got rid of the ball so quick.
Yes.
And he had everything. There was no weakness.
Yeah.
Legs. To me, it's between 2 guys, between Lamar and Mike Vick.
Yes. Agreed.
Just think it's so close. I'd probably just say Mike Vick, but it's 50-50. And then, sorry about the bumpy ride. And then Brain. Again, close to me, but I'm going to have to say Tom Brady. I mean, you know what? I watched one of those reels.
Either
on
Brady or
Facebook
Manning, one or the other.
Right. Those were the 2.
QB
And he's
stinks.
talking about, he goes, what made me so good? He goes, I knew the answer to every test. He goes, I knew every coverage, every defense.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, he goes, my brain was able to just process everything. And I'm like, that probably is the reason. Like, he just knows what's going on.
Yeah.
But those would be the 2 that you said. I agree.
Yeah. I might even go Mahomes for his legs. I mean, Lamar's ridiculous.
Tell me, Mahomes' legs over Randall's legs? Get
No,
outta
come
here.
on.
Only because
Anthony.
I almost want to get Mahomes in there. Either Mahomes'
okay, but-
arm or I need a way to get Mahomes around. I think Mahomes is the best complete package.
To me, it would be him and Aaron Rodgers. Those would be the 2 for me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Prime Aaron Rodgers, obviously.
All right. How about this? You can legally tamper with 3 players in any sport. All right? Any sport, you can legally tamper. Man, what a great graphic, Jules. I like Crosby there. All right. What do you got, VG?
All right, so I want to go, I'm not going to say Shohei because we have a DH here, but Aaron Judge would be perfect, obviously. We need a center for our hockey squad.
Connor?
No.
No?
He hasn't been able to close the deal. I go Young, I go Paisan, Celebrini. And for the Sixers, we got to make them watchable. We need a 4. Not the stretch 4 I need because he does his 3's not great, but Paolo Banchero I would love on this squad.
You can have anybody. You go Banchero?
Yeah.
That's so bad.
I mean, I'm not taking, I'm not going to say.
legally tamper with anyone, and you're going.
Nah, but you
zero.
can't go just like can't go
Oh, that's
SGA.
horrible.
Nah, come on, it's
Oh,
easy.
no,
That
it
I mean,
stinks.
then we just pick all the best
Stinks.
player in the league. Nah,
You
come on.
stink.
Can't just pick.
Brain.
You can't just pick the best player in every
Please,
position in the
Brain.
league.
I'm going to tell you something. One of these isn't surprise you, but it's just my feelings, and hey, it's my decision, right? So I'm going to say Josh Allen because I think Jalen Hurts is a little overrated.
Yeah.
Just being honest. So I would go Josh Allen. I would say Paul Skeens, factoring in age, and just the guy's so freaking great. And then I would probably, I probably would just say, I mean, he's just so great. And I just think his IQ is that amazing. I'd probably, no, actually, I'm going to switch it. I'd go Wembanyama. Factoring in age and everything else, I just got to take him, and he'd be fun to root for.
Yeah, can you imagine? You got Maxey, Edgecombe, and Wemby.
They'd be the best team in the league. They'd be the best team.
Yeah,
it would change everything. Even with Nick Nurse. Even with Nick
Nurse.
Answer.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
you picked Wemby. I mean, how hard is that? 99.9% of people. Yeah, dude, come on, man.
You're picking Powell. VG. This is why you're not a GM. I mean, that's why you're VG, not GM.
That's right.
Who's picking Paolo Banchero?
Look, he's cracking
Besides
himself
you.
up.
No offense.
Yeah, he's
All
a
right.
David Brenner here.
You now
cracking
get to
himself up.
throw back to a couple of announcing teams. Last night was the throwback to Doug Collins, Bob Costas, and the Czar the Telestrator. The throwback 3 announcing teams come back to the present. Who you got?
Number 3, Bill Walton, Dave Pasch. I missed the 11 o'clock games on basketball so bad. Bill Walton is such a loss. How do you hate Bill Walton?
I like Bill Walton, but
Dude, that was an all-timer. You're just not a college hoop head, man. That's it. You're just not a college hoop head.
You could bring back any of the great college basketball.
I miss Bill Walton
he was
terribly.
high doing games.
And I was watching, and I missed it terribly. Terrible. You want my all 3?
Yes.
All right. Then I go Madden Summerall, number 2. And there's nothing. Nothing beats Whitey and Harry, number 1.
Very good. The first 2 were good. What do you got, Brain?
Well, the last 2 he said were, to me, my top 2. Madden and Summerall, just they were so.
They were the
iconic.
greatest. I love Summerall.
greatest.
Summerall, to me, had the greatest voice. And he spoke.
He was
Somebody
iconic.
did a breakdown of him, and he spoke in brevity. He would say like 3 words.
Yeah.
Just like touchdown. He would go, white. Touchdown, Cowboys. Touchdown, Dallas. Like 3 words. And it's like, wow. They just were like, it's huge. Amazing. Yeah, who's your third?
The third one's tough. What's funny? And I'm not even, it would almost be more so, not because I even like the guy, but it just would take me back to my childhood. And again, not that I even like the guy, but I'd like to almost see the old Monday Night Crew with Howard Cosell and, Don Meredith and like Frank Gifford, just to see what it sounds like I just remembered as a kid, like from 45 years ago.
Yeah, I would love to hear that again. I would love to hear that.
And it's just more so like wanting to hear that again versus how great they were. I don't remember.
Yeah. I agree.
But I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Joe Rocket with a great one. Gene Hart and Bobby Taylor.
I love them. That was a great one.
Skating.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Oh my God. He pokes at it. He's gone. You can have, how about this? This is it. This is your general question. You can have one reasonable item treat for your house. What would it be?
Dude, this is I took 0 time on this. Give me a fountain soda machine at my house.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, give me some fountain soda Coke,
Yeah, that's a
watching
great
movie.
answer. Yeah, great answer. You have a popcorn machine to go with it?
That'd be
Good.
great, yeah.
What do you got, Brain?
It was a pretty good answer, VG. I give you credit for that one.
He's
Thanks.
great with the
That
non-sports
was
questions.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was actually a really the quickness you showed him that. You should be a hockey goalie. Like that was like
a
just
reflex.
great
Dude,
reflexes.
that's a dream of mine. If I get an industrial ice machine with a fountain soda machine,
Yeah, you're in.
I mean, you know what it is, and this may not be reasonable, especially compared to what VG's asked for. This may be unreasonable, but whatever. I for someone like me, I can't believe I don't have one. I just don't. But I'd love to have like one of those. You know, when you walk in and some guy's like, "Here's my like movie theater room."
Yes.
Like a big
Yes.
movie
I
theater
would love
room,
a movie theater room.
Yeah,
Love
I
that.
want a movie theater room where I could just geek out. I mean, I think you were the same. Like, I would just like to watch like The Godfather. Like, no one bothering me. Just literally, just like I'm just going in like midnight. I'm still up. I can't fall asleep. Or I'm gonna
Dude,
watch
this
this
is
by
great. He's
myself.
going house
Yeah,
hunting.
I'm just.
The queen hears exactly what his dream is.
Yeah,
Find yourself a
Yeah, I mean,
Gee, you
here,
deserve
you can
it.
see the first house. You see it?
Ooh.
You see it? I don't know if you can see it. We just arrived there.
That's nice.
I don't
That
know.
is nice.
You know.
All
But
right,
anyway,
real quick,
we'll
you
see.
got anything for tonight for the grind?
Yeah, a couple things. Baylor was getting, I believe, 15.5 tonight. I thought that was too high. Maryland was against Wisconsin getting 14.5. I thought that was too high. SGA assists 6.5. He's gone under 15 in his last 21. He's averaging closer to 6 at 6.5. Tough matchup against Knicks. Don't think he quite gets to 7. I think he lands on 6 so many times, and he usually very rarely goes above 7. So I think SGA goes under that number.
Like it.
Oh,
My
and I
man.
also think Memphis against Portland. Memphis against Portland getting 10 points. I think Memphis stinks, but Portland shouldn't be favored by 10. That's too high on the road.
All right. Sounds good. Good luck house hunting, buddy.
Appreciate you both.
See you,
All right, buddy. Appreciate
Here
both
he
you.
is, the brain checking in. I got to run these questions by Mike, too.
I mean, going chalk is just so easy. Yeah, let me pick the MVP of every league and add it. Come on, you got to dig a little deeper.
Come on, Banchero.
Dig a little deeper.
Better than Banchero.
Yeah,
That's
come on,
horrendous.
Open up spacing.
Let's take a quick respite, talk about our friends, and then we got Mike Sielski. I can't wait for Mikey. Mikey's one of the best. Let's talk about Parks Casino, Street Road Bet Salem. All the stuff that they got at Parks Casino. Let me just give you a little bit of a thing, because you want to go date night, like a great night out, where you have a nice meal, you see a show, the Excite Center has incredible acts, you play little cards, you have some fun. Here you go. Tickets still available for Tracy Morgan, coming up March 14th, a week from Saturday. April 3rd, Cheap Trick, that's VG Squad.
Want you to want me?
April 18th, Melissa Etheridge. May 14th, The Wallflowers. Andrew Dice Clay, May 16th.
Oh!
Jack and Jill went up the hill. I don't know why it was so stupid. It was hysterical.
So dumb.
But it was hysterical. Paul McCartney Live, tribute to Paul McCartney. July 24th, the Gene Simmons Band. And Pink Floyd, Australian Pink Floyd, August 29th. Grand Funk Railroad, November 13th. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Got to be 21. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Attention homeowners! It's time to make your home work smarter, not harder. With a TrueMark Financial home equity line of credit, you can tap into your home's equity to handle renovations, upgrades, or whatever's next on your list. Do a man cave, pay off some high-interest debt. A TrueMark Financial HELOC Select gives you the flexibility to borrow when you need it on your own timeline. You start with a revolving line of credit, use only what you need, and when you're ready, you can lock in all or part of your balance at a fixed rate for those predictable payments. You only pay interest on what you use, and as you pay it back, that credit becomes available again. No reapplying, no extra steps. With competitive rates compared to most unsecured loans and flexible repayment options, this could be a smart move for your home and, more importantly, your wallet. Learn more about TrueMark Financial's home equity line of credit at TrueMark.com or stop by one of their 24 branch locations to get started. TrueMark Financial, they are federally insured by the NCUA. They are an equal opportunity lender, NMLS 404938.
All right. Time now for the great author. And by the way, if you're ever driving around on a Saturday,
Dude, I listen to it every Saturday.
So do I. Must listen. Mike Sielski, Rob Ellis.
Great stuff.
My boys. I love them. I know my man Tastegate Dom's listening. Everybody listens. It's a great show. Just a great show. I love that. I love those two. Let's welcome on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line, Mikey. Good morning, Michael.
What's up, Mike?
Yeah, he knows.
I hate when I do that. Sorry. I'm muted. Unmuted. Thanks for the kind words. Robbie E will appreciate it as well.
Yeah, I you know
Love
that.
Robbie.
I love you too. And obviously off the air, but on the air is just awesome. It's great stuff. Just absolutely great stuff.
Thanks.
We got so much to cover. All right. So
Unlike the Sixers last night, rim shot.
dude, seriously, I can't take any more of these nights. These kick in the teeth. Like, it's one thing you lose by 15. The Spurs pull away in the third quarter, fourth quarter. But like you're down by 40, 50. Like, you look up and they got outscored 35-11. I know the VJ got hurt and there was no Oubre or Joe. I get it. But this is just pathetic. Go through the year and these losses, like 30-point losses, 40-point losses, just no competition. It's just horrible.
What was that song a few years ago? White Flag by Dido. That's basically this team. And you can't tell me that the Jared McCain trade didn't knock some wind out of them.
No.
Especially seeing what he's doing for Oklahoma City.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's terrible.
It's crazy. And it's honestly, guys, it's not, and this is not just a Sixers thing. I mean, we're talking about them, obviously, and last night is embarrassing, especially on a night where you've got a lot of attention on the matchup, where NBC Sports is throwing it back, and it's Bob Costas and Doug Collins and the czar, the telestrator, and it's nostalgia all over the place. And, NBC's throwing it back to the 90s. Well, the Sixers played along with that and played like the team they were in the 90s. I mean,
there's Andrew Lang. There's Tim Perry.
Yeah, their lead high scorer last night was Dana Barros.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. And I heard you guys talking about the MVP discussion, who's the MVP in each league. And I have a thought on that gets to what I'm going to say, which is my problem with the NBA right now is, why am I watching the regular season? Why am I caring that Nikola Jokic is putting up insane numbers and a triple-double on average every night? Well, can you trust that these teams are giving a full effort every single night? You cannot. And that's the problem with the entire product.
It is. And if you're NBC, you got to go, I want my money back.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I don't understand why Adam Silver is not just throwing over tables and getting on the phone with all these owners and whoever. This has to stop, because it's a terrible product.
No. You know what's amazing? It's like the cheat code of load management, the 3-point, what happened was we were almost going at it with this ignorance of this blissful ignorance, right? Where players played hard, and Michael Jordan, and it was mid-range, and it was like, hey, let's not rely too heavily on the 3. Let's have a mix, and let's run. And then when people go, well, wait a second, let's look beyond this. And then the whole game becomes unwatchable because of the strategy.
Yes. What you're seeing, I was talking with someone from the Sixers organization about this yesterday, and we were talking about the reunion of the 2001 team that the Sixers just celebrated a while ago. And we were talking about Allen and the way he played. And I made the point to this person that, give me Allen Iverson and Kobe Bryant making tough, fadeaway, 18-foot jumpers, or driving to the hole against Shaquille O'Neal or against pick your big man, and being inefficient all day long as those guys are playing hard, and as long as what I'm seeing is entertaining. How many times did Allen make a move where you're like, I can't believe he did that? And it wasn't efficient. He had plenty of 9 for 29 nights shooting, But damn if it wasn't fun to watch, and damn if it wasn't better than watching teams stand in the corner and shoot corner threes. And what you're talking about, Anthony, honestly, to broaden this beyond sports, is you're talking about the deterioration of norms. Where like
Yes.
people just did stuff because it was the way you were supposed to do things and the way things had kind of always been done. And you're seeing it in sports, you're seeing it in politics, you're seeing it everywhere where people are like, well, if there's not a rule that or a law,
Why
that
are we
says I
doing
have
it
to do
this way?
Why are we doing it this way?
Yeah.
And it's breaking things down all over the place.
Go read. There is. Oh God. Go read The Fourth Turning. Have you read The Fourth Turning?
No.
So it's basically every 100 years, everything gets reimagined. Like the
Okay.
world goes through a dramatic change, and it has to do with the four generations and the
Okay.
archetype of the four generations. And we are approaching the end of the turning of the 100 years.
Okay. So
And-
everything's it's dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating because it goes through history and you see it and it's playing out in this way.
How's this conversation going over in the chat right now, VG?
Well, half of them were baked, so they're probably enjoying it. They like it.
Yeah.
It's funny. I had this conversation with Danny D the other day about reimagining college football, right? And like what I would do is I would create the leagues like, let's look at European or English soccer, and they have, 4 leagues. The Premier League, they have a championship league, right? Like I would do that. And I would have,
tiers.
70.
You want tiers for each program depending on kind of where they are in terms of money and size and all of that. Yeah.
Right.
We're headed that way with college basketball. We already are. Like I have a big piece dropping tomorrow on inquirer.com about the Big Five. It's like a 2,000-word essay I did about, was there anything the Big Five could have done to preserve itself and preserve the magic that it used to have? And the basic answer is no. That college basketball's landscape was much flatter in the 70s, and that allowed the Big Five programs to kind of rise. Penn could get to the Final Four, and LaSalle could have a National Player of the Year in Michael Brooks, and St. Joe's could make it to the Elite Eight and beat the number 1 team in the country on the way there. And then Villanova jumps to the Big East, and Temple hires John Chaney, and it's like, this is amazing. But it's all going to go away eventually because of the way the sport is changing and the way it's growing. And you're not going to be able to hang on to that.
No, I mean, that's the biggest problem. That's a huge problem, man. It really is. Like, we're not, like I look at, I think Fisher is a good coach. Not because he's a friend of the show, comes on the show, and he's a great guy. I think he's a good basketball coach.
Yeah.
But like in this world, I don't know how you exist in an NIL world in this league. Like you just can't. Like
I just talked to somebody this morning at one of the Big Five schools who said exactly that. It's an NIL world, and that's all there is. The idea of Temple getting a certain kind of player because John Chaney is the coach there, and being able to advance in the NCAA tournament because Chaney is that brilliant and that demanding and coaches this confounding matchup zone defense. Like, that's not going to happen anymore. The idea that LaSalle's going to get the best player in the city and get Michael Brooks or Lionel Simmons or whoever, like, it's just, that world is gone forever.
No, it's sad. Like I can't wait to read that piece because that's an awesome nostalgic piece that I want.
Yeah, it's sad though. It's sad.
Yeah, again, and there's people that remember it's not that long ago. That's like the change is happening so rapidly and so swiftly that that's what's so like stunning about it. Is that the landscape has changed that quickly. Real quick on the Sixers, back to the Sixers, because we meandered a bit. But there is a real issue with what McCain the McCain trade, what Morey did, and not like you want to get on the tax. There's other players to move. You move McCain was a problem, and Nick Nurse. Like I have a question, and I'll throw it to you. Put these Sixers coaches in order from best to worst.
Okay.
And this is the last grouping. Doug Collins, Maurice Cheeks, Eddie Jordan, Brett Brown, Doc Rivers, and Nick Nurse. I mean, think about that.
You know what? All right. So I would put Doug and Brett at the top of the list.
Yeah.
I think Brett Brown gets smarter with every passing day. When you think about what he had to deal with at the beginning of the process, and then the changes that were undergoing while he was there.
Yes.
Right? He was coaching a different team in a different style every single year and having to deal with a Joel early in his career and Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler and trying to make all of that work. And not just the same, a different style, but like totally different, like philosophical approach to building a successful team year to year. You know, they go from one year where like, we're just going to try to create the best starting five in the NBA and just ride that to a championship. And then the following year, it's bully ball. And we're going to get rid of Jimmy, let him, you know, get rid of him, bring in Al Horford and try something completely different. Doug, obviously, you know, he kind of, you know, martyred himself, I guess you'd say, that last season. But man, to get that team within one game of the Eastern Conference Finals in 2011 or whenever it was, that's pretty good coaching given the roster that he had at the time. Eddie Jordan, I almost forgot he coached the team. Doc, I always felt like he did fine, but I always felt like Doc was kind of whining about, you know, his situation here. And there was always kind of, I got the sense he was always kind of eyeballing a better situation somewhere else. I remember being at practice one day when the Lakers opening had come, you know, the Lakers job had opened up. They had fired Frank Vogel. And it was the whole like, Doc protests too much thing. Like, I'm not interested. I don't know where this leak is coming from that I would be interested in that job, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's Brett and Doug.
Yeah.
And I've shown Brett some respect too, but he hasn't really gotten any other gigs. Like, are we overrating him a little bit?
Part of it is you can't sell the record to a fan base.
Right. And you can't.
That's a big deal.
You can't sell, especially look at what's at the conversation around the league now about tanking. Like Brett kind of gets a scarlet letter from that, right? Like he was the coach at that time, whether he deserves it or not. And I like Brett a lot personally. He's a great person. But I think that's part of it. And maybe in his mind, I'm sure he'd love to be a head coach again, but you know, going back and working at San Antonio and getting to coach Victor Wembanyama and Dylan Harper and what they've got cooking there with the Spurs ain't so bad.
I agree. I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
And I
mean,
do think
Wembanyama is just incredible. He's an incredible athlete and specimen and player to watch.
Dude, I watched him. It was funny. It was a weird game. It was against the Lakers. The Lakers sat everybody. But I watched the first half. First of all, he had 24 points in the first 6 minutes of the game. You know the timeout at the 5:50 mark? He had 24 points by then, all right? Banging threes. Like, in the first 24 points. He had 38 at halftime. They blew him out, so he only finished with 44. Right. I think he could have scored 100 in that game.
Two things about him. Number one, last season when he left, I forget exactly the medical condition he had that caused his season to end prematurely. But at the time his season ended, he was tied for second in the league in three-pointers made from, I think, beyond 24 feet. Now, for a guy who's 7'5", that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Secondly, if he continues on this arc, they're going to have to raise the rim. Like, it's going to be Wilt-like in terms of how they're going to have to change the rules because it's too easy for him. It's like watching a 13-year-old playing on a Nerf net. Like, it's crazy.
It is. It's really insane. It truly is. All right. Let's move on to Eagles because free agent tampering and free agency is right there. Next week is the tampering. The 11th is free agency. And I'll ask you this, like I don't want to go into AJ because you know the whole story with AJ.
Sure.
Where are your focus? We see that, Crosby is getting heat from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And Hendrickson's out.
Right.
And, Phillips is looking to get big money. Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, they need a pass rusher one way or another, I think. Now, whether that's Phillips, whether that's Hendrickson, whether they make the deal for Crosby, the Crosby, I would love to see Max Crosby, although I saw a stat the other day that he's played like hundreds more snaps than any other defensive player in the last few years. He just never takes a play off, and that makes you wonder about, wear and tear and whether we've already seen the best of him, that sort of thing. I mean, I'm prioritizing in free agency. I'm prioritizing pass rush and tight end. You don't have a tight end on this roster right now. You got to get somebody. And I think the likelihood of them, drafting a pass rusher isn't obviously nearly as likely as them drafting offensive line help. So I'm, would Trey Hendrickson pique my interest? Yeah, he would. Max Crosby, I love him, but you're going to have to give up something to get him. And the fact that Hendrickson's now an unrestricted free agent, gives you pause, doesn't it?
Yeah, big time. It's going to be fascinating to see kind of where all this thing falls.
Yeah, I mean the Phillips thing is interesting because I think people around here feel like, oh, well, he didn't show a ton when he was here. You can look at his stats and say, oh, the hurries were good, and he had a big game against the Packers in his first game, I guess it was, and all that. But he's going to command buco bucks on the free agent market.
We're talking 24 to 27 million.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of money. So, I can see them doing that because of Phillips' connection to Vic. And maybe they feel like he's the safest bet amongst the bunch. Like, we get him, we keep him here. He's already familiar with our system. The injuries are in the past. It's not like he's coming off of a season-ending injury. He played through the end of last season. So I could see them sticking with Phillips. But Hendrickson, I would make a phone call on Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, so would I. Phillies, Painter. What'd you think of Painter on Sunday?
Smooth. That was really encouraging to watch. That was appointment television to watch that kid pitch. And there's something about, it wasn't just like the way he pitched. There was something about his face and the way he stood on the mound. He looked older than he actually is. It was very impressive to me to watch him throw those 2 innings. And I know Judge wasn't in the lineup for the Yankees and all that.
That doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. He looked like a professional veteran starting pitcher. And if I were the Phillies, I'd be really encouraged by that.
I was. I mean, people talk about the lack of strikeouts. I'm like, well, he induced weak outs. That's the point, right? Like, hey, he'll get his strikeouts, but the point is you get weak outs. I mean, listen, Halliday made a living. He didn't have his strikeouts, but he got a lot of weak outs because you couldn't barrel up his stuff.
Besides, strikeouts are fascist.
They're what?
Strikeouts are fascist. Bull Durham, come on.
Yes.
It's your boy Ron Shelton. Come on, man.
I was a great left hook I got. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I got to tell Ron that you quoted him today.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. World Baseball Classic coming up. Are you excited? Are you into it?
A little bit. I mean, I like anything. I like the Olympics for this reason, right? It's the reason why the hockey was so great. Is I like a little bit of tribalism and nationalism, just a tiny bit, like salt on a meal is pretty good. That's enough to raise my interest in the drama. Yeah. So I'm into it. I want to see what Harper and Schwarber do. Although I remember the last time the Phillies had a big-time player in the World Baseball Classic. Trey Turner pretended he was Babe Ruth, and then he didn't hit for 4 months.
Yeah, Captain America. We were calling him Captain America.
We were. We're like, oh, my God, can you believe the Phillies signed this guy? And then it did not work out well for a while thereafter.
All right. Last thing I want to get to is this Philly mag list, which I'm sure you saw.
Yes.
All right. I hated it. All right. I told Larry, I go, this list is horrible.
Yes.
First of all, how could Jimmy Rollins not be on this list, right? Like
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It's ridiculous because if you size up John Kruk and Jimmy Rollins is infinitely more Philadelphia than John Kruk. John Kruk's
Yes.
a great character, lovable guy, but what's Philadelphia about him? Like he's slovenly, or
He drinks beers.
like what is that? Jimmy Rollins, gritty, prideful. Like one of our sins is pride, right?
Yes.
Like we have this sin of pride. We have the grit. We are sometimes too loud and obnoxious, and that gets us in trouble. But we're bright lights. Like Jimmy was
talk the talk and then walk the walk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what everybody in Philadelphia wants out of its athletes. I agree with you about the list. The list struck me. It struck me as one of those exercises where a place like Philly Mag, or in fairness, a place like the Inquirer, gets an idea for a list like this. And then they go through and then they say, well, wait a minute. Have we represented the present day enough and what people are talking about now? And have we represented certain sports or certain demographics that haven't actually earned their ranking on this list? You know, it wasn't a straight up like, you know, here actually is the true most Philly athletes of all time. It was it felt like a little bit of box checking to me.
Yeah, and I thought it was, and listen, I'm not saying that you can't come here after college and spend your whole life here. I think you've certainly added and you become a Philadelphian. You can do it. But there's something about being born and raised in this town that gives you a different understanding. And I think the people that come later in life almost get involved in the stereotype. Like we're viewed as a cartoon character. And it kind of offends me. Like, it really does. Like we're boorish and we're dumb and we're this, we're that. Like we're not erudite, like all this stuff. And it's ridiculous. Like it really is. It's not who we are.
Yeah, it's you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me, remember the Sixers a few years ago had the whole marketing disaster over one of their people saying that they didn't want to play on the blue collar mentality of the city, that they wanted to tap into something else. Well, that blue collar mentality, however you want to define it, and the guy who's coming on after me defines it as well as anybody, you know, that's part of what Philadelphia wants and expects from its athletes. It's not a lowest common denominator thing. It's the nature of playing and covering sports here. This is what you're looking for from the people who are involved in sports. You want the athletes to play, you know, all out all the time. You want the people who cover these teams to be about Philadelphia all the time. And there's nothing like, you know, that anybody should look down their nose at or suggest that like, oh, well, we got to make sure we get this, that, or the other thing. There are athletes who represent it and athletes who don't.
Right. And you're spot on. It was one of my arguments to Larry Platt was Brandon Graham is he's a Philadelphia athlete all the way. Right? Like from the beginning where, you know, he comes in and everybody, including myself, was like, Earl Thomas, right? Nothing to do with BG, but it was like, oh, you gotta replace Dawkins, right? So here comes
careful,
BG, and he never.
You're gonna give BG the shakes, man. Don't bring up Earl Thomas.
Right? And then BG's like, you know what? You'll see. And BG becomes Mr. Eagle. And BG is as classy as they come, and is as hardworking, is as nasty, can be nasty on the field, lovable off it, warm. There's a warmth in Philadelphia. BG has that warmth.
And we are not saying this at all because BG is watching and listening to us right now. That is not happening.
He's a
legitimate
friend of mine. We talk.
I know. And you didn't even mention the comeback story part of it, right?
Well,
like,
that's the point.
Almost being cut, from going from almost being cut to making the single biggest defensive play in franchise history.
Exactly.
Right? Like, that's an amazing story.
It
If that's not a Philly athlete, I don't know what is.
Exactly. Like, that's what we're going to put Vince Papale on here because it was the 15 minutes. Like, God bless him. I love the guy. It was a great story. But come on. Like, you're it's the whole list.
It's what
rankled me.
It's similar to what Bill Simmons says about sports movies, that every director or producer who wants to do a sports movie should have someone like Bill Simmons or you or me on set to go, no, you're getting it wrong.
Yes.
Or no, that would never happen. Or his swing is bad, or his technique is bad. They needed a sports consultant for this list.
That's right. That's right. All right, last thing before we go to BG. What's up with the book?
It's still in the editing stage. I'm waiting for them to kick it back to me. And then we're still on target for November 10th. I'm hoping to be involved in a lot of the Rocky stuff that the city and the visitor center is going to be putting on over the course of the year. Hoping to be at the Rocky Run. Literally, the book comes out on Tuesday, November 10th. And then the following Saturday is the Rocky Run. So I'm hoping to be there.
Oh, you better have a whole kiosk of books, baby.
Yeah, darn right. And,
I love it.
I'm hoping, the Eagles played the theme and the clips before every game. If BG's listening and he wants to get, buy several thousand copies and pass them out to Eagles fans and win the games this season, that'd be awesome. I'll put aside all the journalistic conflict of interest for that one.
Damn right you will. My brother, great. I love it. We love our chats, man. Great stuff. Appreciate
it's awesome.
it.
Last thing before I go, to who should be the NBA MVP this season? And I'm not saying this because he's on the Sixers. Tyrese Maxey should be the NBA MVP. The guy's leading the league in minutes played. Nobody ever questions the effort and what he is doing on a night-to-night basis. He's not taking any nights off. He's exactly what this league should be and needs. And he's having an incredible season to boot.
Hey, I worry about him.
I do too. Yeah.
He talked about morale last night, and you see it, and like for a kid that, like, I love him, man. He may be like they got him right. He was too low on the list, but he believes it, and like you can only take these kinds of losses so long in a whole season. Like I worry about him.
I'm worried about the season grinding down his body and his spirit.
Yeah, spirit. Yep. Yeah, I'm with you. Great stuff, brother.
Right.
Appreciate it.
All right, I'm out of here. Good luck with BG.
Mike Sielski on the Xfinity mobile call-in line. That's right. The great Brandon Graham coming up in a minute. Cannot wait to talk to BG as we get back to tampering. What's in a player's mind when it comes to tampering and like your eyes when you're approaching free agency? What are you looking for?
Yeah, what's important? How important is the state tax? I want to know.
Like all that stuff in wooing a player, right? In free agency. Let's go to a player's mind, even when it comes to the draft and the combine. Like, I love BG's kind of, having gone through it and sharing his experiences and his wisdom. Mm-hmm. That's next. But first, a word from our friends.
Hey, let's talk about Ashley Furniture. I love Ashley Furniture. Now's your chance to transform your home for 2026 with great offers on your favorite looks at Ashley's New Year sale. Discover hot buys for every room in your house starting at just $299, and you can ring in the new year with new styles today and pay over time with 60 months special financing on in-store purchases. Don't miss out. Shop the season's must-have looks at Ashley's New Year's sale because we just love Ashley Furniture.
We're from Philadelphia. We know that pests don't knock. They just show up. Human or the kind that you really skeeve, the roaches and rats. And that's why we got to go to Evans Pest Control. Evans, you want trustworthy pest control company? I give you Evans Pest Control. They're not some giant national chain. They're family-owned, community-focused pest control company right here in the Philadelphia area. They've been earning the trust of our neighborhoods for years. All right, Evans Pest Control uses state-of-the-art equipment, safe and effective treatment options. Their techs go through continuous training, so they're equipped to handle anything. rodents, insects, termites, even bed bugs. They've offered priority services and consultations, which is huge when you have a problem with pests. We don't like pests. We scheme them. We know it here at PHLY. My house, I don't trust it just to anybody. Visit evanspestmgmt.com. That's evanspestmgmt.com. Evans Pest Control.
Hey, let's talk about Ashley Furniture. I love Ashley Furniture. Now's your chance to transform your home for 2026 with great offers on your favorite looks at Ashley's New Year sale. Discover hot buys for every room in your house starting at just $299, and you can ring in the new year with new styles today and pay over time with 60 months special financing on in-store purchases. Don't miss out. Shop the season's must-have looks at Ashley's New Year's sale because we just love Ashley Furniture.
All right, welcome back. How about it? Tomorrow's a big party here.
Yeah.
We're having a big rap party.
Rap party.
All right? We're going to have a big party for our man who ends season 1 of BG Unblocked. And we'll count down to season 2. Let's welcome him to the program on the Xfinity mobile call-in line, the great Brandon Grant. BG!
What's up, baby?
So we got food for the party, all right? I got Skinny Joey's cheesesteaks, and I got Celebrezze pizza. Whew.
Yep, whatever. Well, Celebrezze pizza. Okay. All right. Hey,
And the Skinny Joey's cheesesteaks.
Yes, I ain't never had Skinny Joey's either. So that'd be good to get the
So
first
we're gonna
one.
have a big Philadelphia themed party because I believe I was yelling at the editor from Philly Mag about this list of the top 25 great Philadelphia athletes. That it's not about play; it's about who represented the city.
Yeah.
And not because you're my boy, but like to me, you just exude Philadelphia.
You know what, man? I can't take all the credit from it. I had to go through the hard part first, to understand the blue collar, hard working, persevering type of attitude you got to have during the hard too. And so Philly, I would just say they molded me into that because, man, I had to go through the hard in the beginning, and it wasn't so easy, man. And I didn't like the media, didn't like the people at first because they was just everywhere I went. I couldn't run from it. And it's good because I shouldn't have run from it, at any moment, because that's what made me who I am today. And that's why I kind of keep that chip on my shoulder on top of my faith and just having fun during these moments, because it's never going to stay the same. It's never going to be too good or too bad too long, and so now, man, I just want to continue to keep spreading that wisdom for the guys. That's why I'm up here now. I just got done working out with a couple of them.
Yeah, but see, but here's the thing with you. You always had perspective. Even back then when it was tough, I remember talking to you. This was like right after you were a rookie and saying, dude, listen, this is not like what people are saying about like Earl Thomas and the whole thing wasn't about you. It was more about the position and more about Dawkins than anybody else. And it had nothing to do with you. And you're a bright dude. I mean, you got it. It sucked. But like I always thought you had a great attitude. Even then, when it was fresh, you were like, you had a great attitude. Like I remember like leaving there that day. I had a call. I wanted to talk to you about it. And I was like, I love this dude. And you were young, we were both younger. And I was like, I love this kid, man. He's got a great spirit. Like you have a great spirit.
Nah, I appreciate you, man. And that's where it was cool because I had like guys like Trent Cole and JP. I remember JP talking me into like, hey, man, if you got to do special teams, do it. Just do it. Like, because Chip Kelly came in, man, and I didn't have to do no special teams with Coach Reed other than field goal block. Yeah. And then I come straight in and got to do all four. Punt return, kickoff, kick return. He like, my linebackers, they do special teams and all this stuff with Chip Kelly. And, man, it was so I was kind of mad at first, but then JP brought me to the side like, look, if you want to be here, man, you need to do this. And you got to make sure that you do it with a smile like you do. And man, it just kind of brought me back into that mode of like, man, I get to be here. I appreciate being here. And like, if this what they want me to do, this what I'm gonna do. And you know what? It turned into something that I didn't even think it would turn into. It's to where I get a guy that come to me after the game and was like, hey man, our coach kept saying, man, we got to block 55 coming down, blowing up the wedge. And the whole time I'm just mad because I got to do it. Boom, just running through people. And then when I start seeing that it was that way, man, it just got me hyped for the games and got me more motivated to when I'm in practice, I'm really running down like, okay, that's how they feeling. They gotta watch me when I'm out there. Okay. And so it gave me some fuel to be able to go out and just play my game with that way, before I got on defense full time.
Well, and think about this, right? It's the idea of going through life
Mm-hmm.
and what happened, right? He wound up coaching 12 different other teams, being 12 different places, right? Out of football now. Like, and he had his comeuppance, and you're still playing.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I think about just even Pierre Paul to Earl Thomas. Earl was the big one because it was a safety position. Like you say, it wasn't about me at the time. It's just they let B Dog go to the Denver. They let him go, and they was hoping that. I mean, that was a good player to go to try to replace though, because Earl was a heck of a player, boy. It just sucked the way his career ended because man, I respect him. I respected his game, and them boys was playing hard ball over there in Seattle, and then it just kind of blew up and got nasty at the end. You gotta remain classy no matter what, man. And that's what I can hold my hat on. I appreciate just being able to stand tall through some of the hard, not making no bad decisions in those hard times because man, there's so many times I wanted to, go back at fans and cuss people out and do like, just be
Sure.
uncharacteristic of myself. And so I didn't want nobody. I just had good people in front of me. Of course, I'm my faith man, and just making sure I'm trusting in God. And then on top of that, had good people in our building that helped me during some of them times where I can talk with them.
Yeah, it's such a great story, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful life story, is what it is.
What up, bro?
All right now.
I know. Yeah.
So let's go into the mic because free agency is about to start March 11th.
Oh yeah.
We got legal tampering period coming up next week. Take us into the mind of a player when it comes to that. Like, what do you see?
So it's a lot of talking between your agent and you, especially because the combine happened. And so the whole time, say if you lost and didn't have to make the playoffs and you've been done since January, boy, you've been trying to keep your mind focused on just making sure you're working out, doing what you're supposed to do, but you always trying to call your agent. So when is it happening? When is this happening? Like, let me know so I won't have to keep worrying you because everybody's trying to figure out where they're gonna go, where their next home is, where their security is, as far as contract. So right now, man, you trying to make sure you're doing it the right way, not talking to nobody, none of your teammates. Your agent always advise you not to talk to nobody because people be leaking information to your agent. People might be working for the team. It's so many different people out here that's trying to figure out where you at, what you thinking. Especially in my case, I can only speak for me. At the time, we didn't want to get to free agency, but we wanted to make sure we got a fair deal. We wanted to make sure we weren't leaving no money on the table, based off what kind of feedback you get. So you get some type of feedback during mostly during the combine. You start hearing like little things like, hey man, we want to offer them this, we want to offer them that, and your agent will tell you like little conversations he's had with certain teams, and then once all the stuff happened, then it's time to kind of like start getting on it once free agency opens. So you kind of got an idea of where teams are at and if they want to offer you a multi-year deal or a 1 year deal. In my case, I had a 1 year deal, 1 year deals early on in my career for that first one with Chip Kelly, I remember I was like, dang, 1 year. Everybody wanted me to prove it because I haven't been a full-time starter just yet. I was coming behind Trent Cole and Connor Barwin at the time because he was there during the 3-4 times during Chip Kelly days. And everybody wanted me to prove it for 1 year. So I ended up going with the security, of course, with us. And it was like a 4-year deal with us. And then I was cool. And every time them situations came up again, I just got extended. So I never really had to go through it again.
Right.
Other than that last deal with a 3-year 40, I got my last 3-year big deal. It was right before the day before free agency where me and Howie came up with a good deal, and we just went like that because I didn't want to go in free agency. We just had won the Super Bowl a couple years before, and I was like, man, I don't want to go nowhere else. And we ended up getting a fair deal. And man, ever since then, it's been 1 year after that, so I ain't really had to worry about it. but that 1 year.
Do you tell your age? Like, obviously, you had a special relationship with Howie and this front office and this franchise and Jeffrey Lurie. So, like, it's a little different, I think, your case than a lot of athletes.
Nah, because I wasn't feeling Howie in the beginning. I wasn't feeling him because I thought about him like how everybody used to talk behind closed doors, like, man, don't trust them agents, don't trust this. And I kind of got caught up in that early, not being able to separate the two. And then when you
Wow.
find out how people really feel about you, because in negotiations you hear, well, man, you didn't really have that good of a year this year or this and that, but that wasn't what you was just saying a couple weeks ago before free agency. But it's so different. You got to take the personal out of it. And I had grown from that because I used to be like, man, I got a good relationship with them. I talk to them every day. I say what's up and they all that. But then don't get it twisted now. It's business. And when it's time for them to put their job on the line on who they bringing back
Yeah.
and who they letting go,
Yeah.
man, they got to put their name on you and say like, well, I brought him back
Yeah.
and look what he did, or dang, we should have just let him walk. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it wasn't always sweet in the beginning. It got to that because I was still a knucklehead too. I was still young, still out here making little bonehead mistakes of being late to stuff and being just on time, right on time and stuff. So some of that stuff they was trying to use against me. And I didn't like it at first, but I could understand looking back on it because it's business. It's like, man, I'm putting my job on the line for you when I could pick up another guy in free agency and just let you walk, and just get a pick from you or whatever, however that compensating pick go. But we made it work, man, and I'm so thankful that we always made it work. I went with the security, not made no emotional decision to leave because of the bus label that I had on at the time too. All that played a factor. Everything played a factor. So when people see the sweet part of it now, it wasn't always like that behind
Yeah.
closed doors. It wasn't
Yeah.
always like that. So, but that's
What
why I
do you
say,
tell? Like, I don't know if you're close with
mhm,
Jalen Phillips, but like,
mhm.
do you give him any, like any advice, through the thing? Like,
Yep.
like this should be a good year for him.
That's what I told him. I was like, man, trust the work that you put in. Then on top of that, you got a baby girl coming, like enjoy your family. All the business stuff will take care of itself when that time comes. But right now, you got a reason to focus on your family this off season. That's every off season, but right now even more because you got a new child coming into life pretty soon, and your wife gonna need you more than ever. And you really gonna be just if you do get that contract, you're gonna be in and out because you're gonna be trying to get back to your baby. You know what I'm saying? And back to your wife. And so I just told him like you got a good excuse to come on back and make sure that you're doing it right. So I'm excited. I'm excited for him, man, because he do got an opportunity right now. He had a good season. Got traded to really good locker room guy. It was great to have him in here. We welcome him with open arms, and it was great to see him open up and kind of tell us how he feel about us coming in and how we treated him. Because that's all that matters. That do matter on how somebody feel like, man, when I came in, y'all boys just welcomed me like I was one of y'all right off the rip. And it ain't always like that. So it was cool to hear that before we got out of there once we had those exit meetings, and to know hope that we can get him back. Because, man, he was a great locker room guy. On top of that, he worked hard, and he just was a cool all around guy. So just can't wait to see how this go, man, because we always gonna be that for the organization, bring bring everybody in because we need everybody. Don't matter who make the play, like Fletch used to say, but just make the play. And whoever be the superstar, it don't matter. We all won. Because when we win that ring, we all put that ring on ring me when that time comes, So I'm hoping that that all the guys can make it work, for us, so we can make this run again.
How closely do you watch the free agency and even the draft too? Like as a veteran, how locked in are you during that?
I'm locked in more now than I ever have been. Like these last almost 8 years for real. Because in the beginning, like I say, I was just young minded, and it's like, man, everybody when they draft certain players at my position, man, they looking for somebody to replace me or whatever. You hoping that it ain't in the first round, because then they got to play. Or unless you know that you got one side and they need another side, you get another first round on the other side. But it's always tough, man, coming in, because you just don't know. You're gonna compete, but you just don't know like how the team view you. And sometimes, it ain't a guaranteed year for you in the contract, and you just playing off, man, you know what? I'm gonna trust them on this one. Like I don't think they gonna let me go. But you gotta, a little bit of you gotta trust. And so yeah, I watch it more now because it don't matter to me as much no more, because I know it's all about competing and getting the guys up to speed. Because when people come in, when I realize like people got to come in and they got to learn what I know already, you know what I'm saying? And that first year be tough, but I still want them. I still want to help them. That's just maturity. I got more mature as these last 8 years of just making sure that I'm not in competition with nobody, man, other than just, hey, I'm just trying to bring guys along because we gonna need those guys later on in the stretch. And I want them to feel comfortable and to know that I got their back. And I will tell them the truth if they don't know something, because you do have that. Like people always try to have more information than you, or try to keep that information sacred because they feel like it's helping. It's helping me. He need to know it. He needed this, but nah, man. Like the best feeling I ever had was just pouring into them young boys and then seeing them get to that next level in their career, and then coming back one day and being like, I got a nice little letter. One that stick out to me the most is Kenyon Barner. It was so cool, man, for him to get cut during that year in 2017. I don't know what it had to be. God just put it on my heart to talk to him at that time, and man, to give him those words to like, man, you don't know how life goes, but man, you never know, you could be back. And sure enough, Sproles got hurt, he came back, and man, he ended up winning the Super Bowl with us, going to the Patriots the next year, 1-1 with them, then 1-1 with Tampa. Like how much of a blessing that is. And then he wrote this he gave me a jersey and wrote this long letter. And man, that's something that always stuck with me,
Oh,
because
dude, that's beautiful.
like man, when I tell you, like, you just don't know like how you are being used in those moments at times. So you know how you feel sometimes when you like, man, I should say this. And if you don't say it, you be like, dang, I should have said that to him. Because you find
Totally.
out later somebody might have hurt themselves. Like some of these players now, I hate to see it. Like, man, I would have loved to like been that person that could have talked them down, or like just gave them some motivation or something, so where they don't feel by themselves. Because man, that's what it gets lonely sometimes,
Yeah.
especially when you get hurt, because you kind of get people throw you away, not even throw you away, but they just don't. It's not a
Yeah.
sense of urgency about you like it was if you was available. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you kind of get lost in the sauce, and you don't hear from nobody, and then you got all these thoughts that go through your mind and how they gonna play it next year, but you can't worry about nothing you can't control. And you got to just continue to love on the people that's loving on you while you in your storm. And so yeah, man, that's what, like, that always stuck out to me. So that's what I try to be for these guys, man. And it ain't I don't care how much I play or what. It's just more about trying to be the support of the main characters, because my time has passed, but at the same time I still got a little gas. Don't get me
You got
wrong. I
another
get out
year,
there,
baby.
I
Let's
get out
go.
there, I get out there and get you for real. But it's more like I'm just here to support the main characters and be here whenever my name is called, I'm ready. And so that's what I've been thankful for, to have come back last year and be that for them. And hopefully I can, do it for one more, just to go out there and just have fun. And man, hopefully we can make another run like we did 2 years ago.
You're like Yoda. You gotta.
Yep. Man. Hey. Get my saber out. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm out here, man, enjoying it. I just got done working out today, man. I'm feeling so good. Just in a good place, man. Cause if I play or not, it don't matter, man. Like I'm just like really trying to just stay healthy, trying to look good, cause that's what helps with the transition too. From talking to a bunch of guys, like man, as long as I'm looking good, I'm feeling good, man. It don't matter. I'm ready for whatever comes. And so if Howie calls me or not, don't matter. I'ma still be right there front and center watching them birds or right there on that sideline watching them birds. And then eventually I'm gonna be on that staff one of them days, man, and we're gonna be doing it like that. I just got the young kids right now, so I'm trying to make sure I'm there for them during
Well,
this
you'll
time.
be with us until then.
Right. I'll be with y'all. Y'all know where we at. BG Unblocked. We gonna do that. I'm gonna be out there recording and doing little fun stuff in the stadium, and man, talking with fans, and man, just that's what it's all about, man. Just trying to bring everybody, making everybody feel a part of it, cause everybody got a part to play.
That's it. Amen, my brother. Yo, let's have a nice party tomorrow. We'll
Let's
wrap
go.
season 1. Get ready for season 2. All right.
It's time, baby. It's time.
Love it. I'll see you tomorrow, brother. Love you, buddy.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
There he is, the great BG. Always just joy.
The greatest human.
Joy.
Yeah.
But that term, which I hear all the time, you just use the greatest human.
Yeah, he's the greatest
As
human.
opposed to what else are we? People use the word human a lot to describe another person.
I don't know. You do it as well.
I don't say human.
Yes,
No.
you do.
No, I don't.
You do it in Evan's Pest ad. You're like, even human. You do.
But even human.
Yes.
No,
Best
it's
of both.
copy. I don't usually bring up.
Get out of
use
here.
that
You
vernacular.
ad-libbed that, dude.
I don't.
You ad-libbed human.
Take us into some VG's notes.
Okay. Will do.
VG's notes.
It's just time for BG's nuts. BG's nuts.
This is a new one. There's
Golden
no,
Nugget
there's
Jewelers.
no visual for this one. This is just coming across my wire. Daryl Morey was looking to add a star at the deadline that didn't come through. Do you know who? Kawhi Leonard.
Okay.
That's from Kevin O'Connor at Yahoo Sports. That's the deal he thought he was going to be able to make.
Yeah. All right.
Star hunting.
Yeah.
Hey,
Can you imagine Kawhi Leonard? I guess he would have to move George, right? Back to Clippers.
Yeah.
Kawhi. Are you kidding me? Like, don't tease me. That's worse.
Just
Like,
saying.
I hear that is worse. Kawhi Leonard. Oh,
I got another Sixers nug. Because we're up against it time-wise. Your 76ers are the first team in the history of the NBA to lose 3 games at home by more than 40 points in a single season.
Oh, brutal. Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Brutal.
All right. Let's go back in the day.
All right.
Oh, my God. Yeah, give me those 2 Sixer nugs. Are like, it was like 1-2, man. Why?
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with True Mark. Oh, yeah. All right, this week, 1994, some stuff was happening with the Eagles.
1994.
Yeah. Action News kept us up to date back then because we didn't have Twitter.
Really?
Yes.
It was March 1994, Eagles.
Yeah. What could have been going on?
I don't know. Stadium moving?
Maybe.
The sale of Jeffrey Lurie?
Maybe.
That's what it sounds like to
Somebody's
me.
getting warm.
Sounds like to me it was about Jeffrey
Somebody's
Lurie.
getting warmer.
What do we got? Let's see.
I don't know.
Here it is.
But the big story in Action News tonight is the intriguing possibility that Norman Bremen is in serious negotiations to sell the Philadelphia Eagles. Gary Papa has been tracking the story for hours, and Gary, you've got whatever there is to know.
Hollywood comes to Philadelphia. Tonight and for the past 2 nights, Jeff Lurie, a Hollywood producer,
They spent the night in Philadelphia to see if this deal can be made. Now, several sources tell us tonight it is a lot more premature than we were first led to believe this afternoon, and in fact, one said it's far from done. Quoting now, it is very premature. The deal as it stands, $196 million. This for a team that Norman paid $65 million back for in '85. Back in February of '93, Norman Braman talked to Scott Palmer about this. The Eagles are not for sale.
Look at that.
Gary Papa breaking news.
Look at-
He's like Adam Schefter back there.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
196 mil.
Oh.
They're worth like $6 billion. now.
Yes, $8 billion. Crazy. Jules! Great stuff, Jules. Julia. It was fun today. Fun stuff. Good job, my brother.
Nice work.
Everybody, chat. Rock chat. Just love you guys. See you tomorrow. I'm gonna go watch tape with Baldy.
Oh, nice.
We all silly like the mayor.